It's about time we updated the Signet Ring tier list because it's been honestly a long time since we did one, and a lot of things have changed. A lot of information has come into the game, and especially myself have learned a lot more since that original tier list. And on top of that, if we bring up that tier list, there is some shocking decision making. I'm going to be honest, there's some rings on there that definitely deserve to be a little bit higher than some other rings, and obviously there's been some rings that got kind of butchered. So today we're going to come and do some justice. We're going to do a brand new tier list, and to do this, the way we're going to actually approach this is a brand new ranking system, because I think the ranking system was the major contention, as well as the major thing that was causing a lot of people to get upset with certain rings being in those positions. So I've changed it up and made it a lot more easier to follow, because then you can know what rings you're actually going for when it comes into the game. So we've got the priority rings. These are just going to be rings I believe are top priority for your marchers. These could be rings if you're going for a particular formation, or just a ring that can be used again in multiple formations on your account. We've got the best in slot DPS. So if you're wondering what that means, it's best in slot biz, right? It means it's the best you could be using in these formations. So these are just damage per second rings, basically. Any ring that's going to help amplify the damage of your march, it's going to be in these slots, right? Best in slot support is the opposite, right? So any ring that's really good at survivability, tanking, reducing your damage, right? Increasing damage, all these type of stuff. The best in slot support rings, that's going to be there. So then we've got flexible rings or OK rings. So I'm putting these two together because honestly they kind of fit the same role. Flexible rings you're going to be able to use in multiple areas no matter what. They're not super luxury, but you know if you've got that ring, you can put it anywhere. That's kind of the beauty of it. With OK rings, so these are just rings that are really good at just doing a job, but you are going to be replacing them with any of the other categories above on this lineup. Then the bottom two are very easy to follow. Niche rings. These are rings that fulfill a very specific job, and they're there to do that job only. Is it going to be a high priority? I'm not going to say yes, but I'm not also going to say no, because in some scenarios you might be wanting these in the right metas. And then to finish it off, the quality of life rings. So these are just rings that help improve your gaming experience, right? So that's going to be the new list. Hopefully that's a lot better. Let me know in the comment section down below already. You can timestamp it during the comment, and then later on, if I ask you again, timestamp it, right? So you can follow along in this Signet Ring tier list. So with that said, let's dive in with the first three rings we got to put on straight away into this tier list. Ring of the Elephant, Ring of L'Oreal, and Ring of Rhino. These are your three siege-based rings, and as you can imagine, they're going to be going into the niche tier list category. And the thing is, these rings obviously aren't that bad in the right scenario. Are they going to be a must-pick ring? Definitely not. I would honestly try to get these rings more around your third or fourth march, because the way you use these rings is on a Josephine, Hammurabi, and King Derek march, where you're emphasizing as much of the siege abilities as possible to help your alliance in certain events like the Mightiest Empire to break through those gates and those walls that you need to allow them to obviously attack the capital sooner. So the siege marches are actually a pretty cool march for free-to-players to build later down the road once you focus down that mage march. And if you were wondering which rings are the best out of the three, to be honest, I would say the Ring of L'Oreal is going to be the number one, just of how easy it is to just level up this ring. And as you'll notice, at level 1 this is 20.47, and even the Ring of Elephant is only 21.42. so yes, the Ring of Elephant will scale larger, but you are going to be able to get to that level 30 goal quicker with that Ring of L'Oreal. The Rhino, though, is only about walls. So if you are trying to destroy walls on cities, for example, this is going to be used there to absolutely just decimate the walls even quicker. it's got its use. This is not honestly something that you kind of care about, but it's there for the purpose of siege combat at the moment. So if we jump back into the tier list, you can see we've got our rings in this lineup. And what I'm going to put is the Ring of L'Oreal at the top, meaning if you are trying to think of priorities, which ring is the best out of the three, we're going to keep it in kind of ring order. So as we keep adding rings to this list, you'll hopefully see which rings are better than what rings in each of the different categories. But remember, everything is going to be pretty close with each other, and they're going to have their own explanations. So to finish off this category and to get things rolling into mainly the 4 categories you guys want to know about is the quality of life rings. Let's just crack these ones out, because if you guys didn't know, we do have these in the game, and those are your Ring of Steed, right? So this is a gathering one and increasing all troop load. And if we scroll up, we also have the Ring of Sunflower, we got the Ring of Hyacinth, and the Ring of Violet. These 4 rings are perfect quality of life rings. I don't need to go too crazy in the explanation on them. They're there to give you help, right? Gathering speed, as well as extra resources or XP. It's as simple as that. You will, I believe, get one of these pretty early on. And if you want to unlock any of these rings, I would go for more of the gathering speed ones over anything. Yes, the XP ring could be used over time, all the time to level up heroes, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, I hardly use it. I really don't. I just get enough XP tomes from events and just killing stuff anyway, that this doesn't really make too much of an impact, in my opinion, right? So out of these 4 different rings that we could be going, for obviously the quality of life section, what are they going to be positioned? Well, you've got to remember, they're going to be all the quality of life rings. So if we just put all of them here, you know exactly what we're talking about, right? So I would put the gathering speed one obviously ahead. These are just all the gathering ones. They're going to be better than the XP one at the very bottom there, right? So now we're into the juice. We are into the juice. Let's talk about some of these different actual rings that are either going to help you in PvP combat or just generally just help your march in the game. Ring of Rose is going to be your okay flexible ring that you can actually be using on strategy-based marches. So this is kind of if you're an archer with your YSS or your Suleimans, and even going into Ramses if you've got them unlocked, and you might not just have a ring. If you don't have a ring, this is just something that you can put on. It's okay. It's going to deal some all right damage. And again, just being a blue ring in general, early game, it's super easy to level up, right? It's super easy to level up. It's not going to be the best bang for your buck because you're getting 125% damage, and obviously you wish you had a little bit more on that, but it's something, and it's going to be easier to obtain than others. This is obviously the same case with the Ring of Tulip. This is the might variant of this, and it's a really good ring that I believe you get completely free at the start of the game. And this ring just does the exact same, but the might side. So no matter what, if you're just looking for a ring to put on any might march, you can just actually just Ring of Tulip it, and it's going to do its job. Is it 2 rings though? I would say you should, you know, bend over backwards for and start investing all of your dust into these rings. Hell no. I'm going to be honest. There's going to be some better blue rings that we can be investing into, including the next ring that we're going to talk about, which is one of my favorite rings in the blue category, which is Ring of Clover. Ring of Clover has a 50% chance to reduce your troops' damage taken, and you can see mine's already level 15, and that is a 10% reduction for 3 seconds. That is absolutely crazy when you think about it, because if a Lubu hits you for 90,000 damage with his burst, guess what? You've just taken off 9k of that. And that's a 50% chance, but it's better than nothing, because as we've kind of concluded so far in the meta of our good old friend Age of Empires Mobile, burst damage and just bursting someone down is superior, and because of that, recovery isn't in the best of spots. It's good, but it's not the greatest. The best thing to be doing at the moment is just flat out reducing the troop damage taken, and because of that, Ring of the Clover, for such a dirt cheap ring that you can unlock right now, and you can put this on any match. Is honestly that good of a survival ring in the early game and in the mid game. Until you get your main priority ring, you guessed it, this is going to be one of the best in slot support rings in my opinion. So if we put these in there, we've got the Ring of Clover beautifully placed there. Everyone's going to love that, especially on your pikeman. Put it on anything, it just makes them hopefully a little bit more tankier for the investment in there. We've got the tulip there, which is okay. It's nothing crazy, and there's going to be better rings that you can be putting onto your march, but why not, right? It's great for the job for early phases. And then the final one, for the exact same reason, Ring of the Tulip, right? I think it's Ring of the Tulip or Ring of the Rose. I do apologize. A lot of the different rings. So there, we've got quite a lot of different rings already in, and it's got a nice little cascading step here that you can be putting. So let's look at some more rings that are to finish off, hopefully, this cascade and get a bigger picture of what the game actually wants you to do with DPS. Ring of the Serpent is the first ring we need to talk about in the DPS era, because yes, if you're a hero player that loves tacticians, your Hannibals, your YSSs, your Suleymans, your Ramses, Ring of the Serpent is going to be technically one of the best in-slot DPS rings you can be picking, because it's an epic ring that just flat out gives you strategy. And what's so good about this ring compared to all the other rings, especially the one lower down, is these stats are honestly mattering on your marches, right? If you're boosting the main attribute of your Charlemagne's, strategy, you're increasing all of the main stats that he needs, including potentially recovery, for example, in that war tactic. You can put this on your Ramses, again, doing some crazy damage. So the Ring of the Serpent, you'll realize, is actually one of the best in slot DPS rings for a variety of reasons. You can put this on your main commander, and you can be putting this on your support heroes. It's actually too good of a flexible ring, especially for tactician players. So I'm not going to be biased. I'm not going to actually screw the Ring of the Serpent here, but the Ring of the Serpent, in my eyes, for those players who honestly love playing those builds, is one of the best in-slot rings you can be putting on tactician marches. Now, let's finish off this era, because at the same time, you could be investing into two better rings potentially that are even cheaper. So if we come into the full game again and we check out what you guys have been waiting on, the Ring of Daisy and the Ring of Iris, both of these rings are crazy good. Honestly, they are really good for two different reasons. Ring of the Iris, you can honestly put this on any march. I'm going to be real. If you're running a warrior cavalry or a warrior archer march, you can put this ring on, because you're increasing the critical strike rate, so those normal attacks just hit that harder. And especially later in Season 4, depending on certain builds in the game, you could be running the Ring of Iris on Lubu while you're running a Timur and a Tiller, or a Timur and Rani, and actually have this actual critical strike rate you need, consistency for that Ripper Tiger procs, right? So I absolutely love the Ring of Osiris. Really good one that you should be upgrading, and you can just use elsewhere. Ring of the Daisy is also one of the best in-slot DPS might rings. This is absolutely crazy because it's a double strike attack, meaning it's a secondary strike skill on your normals, right? So anytime you launch a normal attack, you just deal might damage to the enemy troop. So just think when you are using Mulan and you hit that instance of damage, and then you get another 50% chance of doing 3 instances, those all have a chance to proc this at 20%. That is nuts, especially when you have double attack states, and those are triggering this too. Ring of Daisy just allows marchers to cheat out 3 damage early on. And if you've not guessed it and why these are some of the best in slot rings you can be using early game, they're blue. They're super cheap to actually level up. So you're going to have a level 30 Ring of Iris or a level 30 Ring of Daisy already in your account, and they're going to actually carry you until you get that level 30, level 40 epic or legendary ring that will eventually outscale it. But until that time, these are just too much value for your account, right? And again, you will be able to use these on more matches that I have technically not said. So I do apologize for those guys that might be like warrior mains, that might be using these even in pikemen, especially the Ring of Daisy, maybe. Who knows? I'm just saying, some people go crazy with these, especially even on infantry. You can do all sorts of stuff, right? So when we are putting these rings, they are definitely deserving, in my eyes, in the best in slot DPS rings. The thing is, in the game at the moment, a lot of players and a lot of people who watch my content are warrior players. So I will say, when it terms of priority and which rings are better, I actually do think these two blue rings are better than the Ring of the Serpent there. So you can kind of see now where we are hoping we are getting these ranks right within each of these categories. So now let's move on. Let's actually put on our first priority ring that I think you should be unlocking in game. And it's no other than Tranquil Water, because yes, this ring is just too good. It is insane how good Tranquil Water is, because this is the one ring, no matter what, you are trying to aspire to get for that support tanking ring. Any other ring besides this, you know, what you might have before unlocked, is a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone because it wishes it was Tranquil Water, because this ring of any of the rings does the best reduction in the game. It's a 40% reduce on your troops damage taken. It is crazy when this ring is maxed out. And as you go up, even reducing damage by 20% is no laughing matter, because as you guys know, we are in a burst meta right now. It's all about dealing as much damage as fast as possible. We've got Mulans out there, we've got Ramses out there, we've got Lubus out there, we've got Miyamotos out there, and then we've got the pikemen trying their best to hold everyone behind, right? They're the gatekeepers almost in the meta. But the Tranquil Water is that one ring I can promise you, for 1.6k, you unlock this ring, you're not going to look back, because you can put this on any march in the game. It's that good of a ring. And because of that, it just allows you to just survive fights that you shouldn't be surviving on paper. You'll be surprised, even in an even fight. Say you've got a Lubu versus a Lubu march, and the only thing difference is one person has a Tranquil Water and the other one has like the main ring setup. The Tranquil Water always wins, because reducing Lubu's damage by 40% is too much of a tempo swing, and especially in a 1v1 scenario. So Tranquil Water is crazy. This is one of my favorite rings in the game. I am actually working on this now to max out, because you will see I do have the Radiant Garden at level 10, and I do have the Lofty Mountain recently unlocked, but this is going to be my first ring. Once I get all of them to level 10, I'm pushing this to level 20, to level 30, because it's that good on your account, right? So if that has not made the case, I don't know what does. And I think a lot of people will most likely agree that the Tranquil Water is probably one of the top 3 rings in the entire game. It's that good of a support ring that you can see. So we've got a nice little step now. We can kind of see how the game is laid out. Hopefully you can see where the direction on this tier list is. If you've enjoyed it, smash a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know right now your thoughts on the tier list. Do you agree with what we're saying? Do you enjoy the concept of it? And let me know if you want anything changed down below. What would you put in what positions, right? So with that, let's move on. Let's do 3 more rings and add some stuff into the categories. So the first 3 rings we're going to be talking about here is going to be Ring of the Seahorse, Ring of the Shark, and no other, but if you can guess it, Ring of Badger. And these are 3 rings that are technically supportive style rings that tank in different scenarios, right? They kind of fulfill these roles and help you in some sort of way. It's a utility-based ring, right? So the Ring of the Badger here, as you can see, for the first 18 seconds, when you're doing this, it reduces your troops' normal attack and secondary strike damage taken by 10%. This is obviously going to be scaling up because I've got this already level 10, as you guys see, but this is going up to 31.5%. What this ring basically is saying to you is anyone using secondary strike skills or troop normal attacks to do burst damage, aka Lubus, that's going to reduce that damage. It's actually going to help you tank against them, right? So that is pretty good if you think about a Ring of Badger. Now, let's talk about the other two rings, because the Ring of Shark reduces recovery now. So if you are going against marchers that are just healing a ton, we are on the fence of seeing these Elizabeths coming into Age of Empires Mobile with the assimilation damage. We're seeing Timur coming into the game again with the ability to heal off critical strikes. So Ring of the Shark is all about reducing those type of heroes, those type of healing effects. The thing is, it's just, I think, a bit too slow to trigger. It's therefore a very niche, a very specific meta in the game. But the issue is you have to add these stacks up. And adding those stacks up is quite difficult, especially if you're not using a hero like Mulan. Mulan can actually take advantage of this quite easily. But other than that, there's not many kind of heroes that are really good at machine gun hitting people with just natural attacks, right? So this is very, concerning when it comes to the Ring of Shark, even though I do hope sometimes we might see it in the future to counter certain metas. And the thing is the same with the Ring of the Seahorse. The Ring of the Seahorse is when you take strategy damage more than 1% of your maximum units in a single attack, you reduce their strategy damage taken by 420, which is quite amazing. But when you max this out, it's going to be 20%. So you reduce the strategy damage you take by 20%. And this is very similar to the Ring of the Badger now, right? Because this is reducing anyone that's a Hannibal, that's a Ramses, that's a Sun Tzu, right? These type of marchers that rely on strategy damage. And the thing is, the Ring of the Seahorse is perfect for those pikemen and infantry-based marchers that might be going against them. So if, and this is an if, you are in an empire and you are going against mightiest empires all the time or won the contest, and you start to see a lot, and I mean a lot, of tacticians out there, this is going to be that one ring that kind of counters that meta for you, and it gives you the survivability you're going to need for against these Ramses, for these Sun Tzus, and so forth. And it's the exact same concept with the Badger now with Lubu. So what we're going to do is actually come into the tier list, and this is where things are going to get funky, because the thing is, right now, and this will be quite scary to say, but I'm going to put both the Seahorse and the good old Shark in the niche category, and I think that just makes sense on paper, right? So these two on here, I will put them technically higher. I'm not saying these are gonna be higher priority to invest into compared to the Siege ones, because I do think the Siege, especially these two Siege rings here, the Ring of the Rhino and the Ring of the Elephant and the Ring of Laurel, I think these two rings you could get earlier if you want to go for the Siege March. But these are the two rings technically in those niche scenarios a crazy value, but we're not really seeing them used, right? We're not in that meta. So that's kind of where I'm going to put those two. However, the Ring of the Badger, I'm actually going to put in a flexible and okay state, because let's be real, a lot of marchers in the game use secondary strike skills. A lot of people like to hit you hard with troop normal attack. So having this Ring of the Badger is an okay and very flexible ring that you could have unlocked for your account. You can put this on infantry, you can definitely put it on pikemen and absolutely laugh as you hunt down those cavalry mains and just, kill them. So it makes sense to me where I'm putting these three rings. Let me know if your thoughts are different and you think these rings could be all in the niche category, but at the moment it makes sense, especially if you're looking at this tier list as a season 1 player going into season 2. This is a no-brainer, especially going in the future now, right? So let's move on. Let's not handicap ourselves and get into some more interesting rings that we could be using in game. Ring of the Falcon is a personal favorite of mine, and as you can imagine, this ring is really good in the support category. You can use this ring on a variety of matches if you just want survivability. Honestly, I have used this Ring of the Falcon on my Mulan match while I've been waiting for my Trinkle Water, and then swapping it out to my Pikeman, for example. So the Ring of the Falcon is one of these rings that are super flexible for your matches, because whenever you put it on, you're either recovering troop or you reduce damage taken. And I will be honest, you do want the reduced damage taken part of it just to help you tank out, especially when you get this maxed ranked. This is 32% reduced damage taken, so it's a nice effect with a decent 210% heal attached to it. So it's no laughing matter when it comes into there, and I would actually say one of, if not, best in slot support rings that you can be playing in game. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's an epic ring, allowing you to actually level it up quite easily compared to a legendary ring that you might be needing to do elsewhere. On top of this, let's talk about another two different supportive style utility based rings, because we've got the Ring of the Deer, which reduces a random enemy's hero's damage by a flat amount and increases one of your hero's damage by another amount. We also have Ring of the Crow, which is similar, but instead this steals might, strategy, and armor from the enemy commander. And now this is very important, because this ring and Ring of the Deer do serve purposes, but are they super niche? I don't think so. What I actually do think these two rings are, one, flexible in the Ring of the Deer, but Ring of the Crow at the moment is, again, a flexible ring. A lot of people use this in Hannibal matches, which makes sense because Hannibal is already stealing stats. If you're doing that, it's going to help you even further. But the thing is, with this ring, no matter what, you are stealing a bunch of stats from their main commander. So their Lubu, their Mulan, their Miyamoto, the Richards, future Cyruses coming, right? All of these heroes, they're getting punished because this is targeting them. So hopefully they obviously hit less, so they're not hitting that hard, as well as they take more damage. So it's a really cool ring, and I actually really do like this. The thing is with the Ring of the Deer, it's good, but at the same time it's a little bit more RNG, because the thing is, you don't want to increase one of your heroes damage if they're more of a support based hero. So it's really good if you're running maybe a march where all three commanders are actually dealing a truck ton of damage and you're putting this on, because either way it's going to be a positive payload for you. But it's one of them rings that's a little bit harder to put in. Would I go crazy for it right now? I'm going to be honest, no. I wouldn't absolutely go head over heels over this ring, but it's still a good ring, don't get me wrong. I don't want to actually say to you guys this ring's like terrible, because it's not terrible at all. So when we come into these ratings, what we're going to do is put Ring of the Falcon, honestly, in one of the best in support rings. And the thing is, I don't know if it's better than the Ring of the Clover though, because the Ring of the Clover is easier to max out, and once it's maxed out, you honestly get such a great benefit, you're laughing. So for that reason, I'm going to keep Clover at the moment higher than the Falcon, but the Falcon is probably on paper just as good, and some people might argue it is better because of the recovery effect. When we come into the good old brilliant Crow here, I'm actually going to put this in the flexible and okay stage, because to be honest, it's a flexible and a really good ring. It's not definitely the best in support slot, but it's definitely one up there where it's creating a tempo swing and offering a different type of utility in Age of Empires Mobile, right? Same with the Ring of the Deer, and I do think the Crow is better than the Ring of the Deer. So if you're wondering which one of the two you would prefer to unlock, I would recommend the Ring of the Crow over the Deer, for the simple fact that you know what you're targeting. You're hitting the enemy commander, you're making them hit less, which is great, compared to the gamble, which is the Ring of the Deer. So we're coming up to the finale. We've got a bunch of legendary rings and some more epic rings to go. So can you guys guess what ring is gonna be next? If you said Lofty Mountain, then you was correct, because Lofty Mountain is going to be the ring we're going to be talking about, because I do love this ring, and it's going to be eventually one I am going to be working on later down the line once we finished our Tranquil Water, because it allows you, no matter what, to put this on any match in the game. And as you notice, this gives you commander damage or whoever you put it on. So even if you put this on your support, say like your Tribuana, it's gonna buff your Miyamoto, which is amazing. On top of this, it gives you your troops defense and troops health. And when you look at the ability, and we have this upgraded, the Lofty Mountain gives you a 15%, guys, damage and damage reduction in combat. And the way it works is for the first 18 seconds, you're going to get that reduction. Then after the 18 seconds, you're going to get the damage increase, which is really good because it means you're hopefully going to out-sustain their initial bursts, get that troop initial cap advantage on your side, and then hit them with the big troop damage. So this is honestly one of the best in-slot support rings in the game, and you will get this for 1.6k. Is it better than the Tranquil Water? That's probably a hot topic that I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, but in my quick, humble opinion, and by placing it into the tier list, I'm gonna say no. But I do think it is hands down definitely better than these other three rings. However, you do need to work on it. So the Ring of the Clover will be one ring you will use for a long time until maybe your Lofty Mountain or your Tranquil Water that you've unlocked is at like level 20 or higher, so you're getting a really good advantage for swapping over. So let's do one more ring in a bounce, and let's be real, we're gonna do my favorite, which was one of my first 4K rings and only a 4K ring we've got so far, Radiant Guardian. And this is going to be, for a lot of people, a high priority ring, because this is going to be your one 4K signet ring for all of the DPS matches, including your Mulans, your Bellevues. You can put this on your Lubu, you can put this on El Cid, and we're not even talking about any of the future commanders in the game, and those are all meta marchers in their own right. And Radiant Guardian just allows them that next step further. It gives them all of the consistency they want, as well as just raw damage output, because when you do max this out, you have a 100% chance to gain that double attack state, and you increase, right, the activation chance by 5% every 6 seconds on your second strike skills, which is just nuts. It's nuts, right? For a turn-based skill, absolutely crazy for this ring. So you're absolutely laughing when you get this ring. Honestly, I don't think there's anything else I can say. I know a lot of people would love to rant and rave about the Radiant Guardian. It's that good of a priority ring. So is it going to be more higher priority than Tranquil Water? I don't know. I'm going to say personally not, because of one factor. Tranquil Water is 1.6k and it is an absolute game-changing support ring, while you do need to save that 4k for the Radiant Guardian. And if you did that, you could have bought, for example, this Tranquil Water. You could have also bought maybe, you know, the Ring of the Falcon and even the Ring of the Clover, or any of the other rings that we're going to be putting onto this tier list, right? Ring of the Daisy, Ring of the Iris, another good example. So you can see where it kind of comes as a trade-off, how much you're going to spend to what rings you are able to buy. So let's move on. Let's move on to some final rings we've got in here, and let's shotgun some in for you guys. So let's shotgun out Scorching Flame as well as Sun and Moon. We're not doing obviously Pokemon Sun and Moon, but we're talking about Azure Moon and Effulgent Sun. So these two rings are basically the exact same rings. They are counterparts to each other. Effulgent Sun, wait 3 seconds, do a truck ton of damage in that might bonus. When we look at the good old Azure Moon, it's the exact same, but it's strategy. And on top of it, it's more. It's 480% compared to 400%. Now, Scorching Flame, really powerful support ring. This is allowing you to just increase all of your heroes' might by 22% at max level when we check this out, And on top of this, increases your rage recovery speed and commander's damage, which is perfect in the right lineups because it means you can do more Lubu AoE, you could do more Mulan machine guns, right? You can do a lot more cool stuff, and this ring can be equipped to different heroes like your Tamaris, Saladin. You can put this on Mehmed, you can put it on Bellevue, you can put it on Guan Yu or Attila, right? You can put this on a variety of marches, and it's only 1.6k ring, just like Effulgent Sun and the Moon. The thing is, though, I would always say Scorching Flame out of the other two is a definite higher priority for warrior might players and just warrior players in general, because it's easily one of the best support in slot, right? Just best in slot support rings for damage. It's the only kind of one that really does increase damage for a lot of marches. So Scorching Flame is definitely there. I think it's one ring that no matter what, you can put this on any good base might formation and you are actually happy about it. The thing is, Azure Moon is a tricky one because the sad story is with Tacticians, Suleiman, Sun Tzu, Ramses, right, and even YSS, all of these heroes do insane amount of damage, but what I think the game's done wrong is not giving them any great options. Their ring options just doesn't feel as complete and just as great as some of the other rings, and because of that, this Azure Moon does become one of, if not the best in-slot DPS choice that you could be putting on a lot of different matches. This could be fulfilled on the second slot or even on the third slot of the commander while you use the best priority ring that we're going to discuss shortly in that match, right? So it will make sense in a moment when we put these in the tier list. But then the Effulgent Sun, and this is where I think I'm going to upset a lot of people, but we always got to make one upset in the video, right? I think this is, again, a pretty good ring in the right lineups, especially in formations of infantry and in even cases like El Cid, because El Cid does like when you increase his skill damage because he hits like a truck, and when he slows you down and he double hits you, and then this hits you, it's a lot of damage, guys. It's a lot of damage that's in the game. And the thing is with the Effulgent Sun, though, it is competing against a lot. It is competing against a lot of different things, even in the epic category that you could be equipping onto your marches. And because of that, I honestly am gonna put it in the good old flexible. It's the flexible / okay ring. It's okay. Honestly, it's an okay ring that you can put in. And as you've noticed, I have adjusted this tier list now where you can see the Ring of the Badger and then the other epic rings. Definitely, I think, outclass it. And I would prefer these 3 rings compared to this earlier, because I could have an epic ring like the Ring of the Badger on one of my marches in that same formation and just make them tankier and just get it leveled up quicker. So that's why I'm going to put it down here. It's definitely a super upgrade on this blue ring, right? Your Azure Moon, like I said, you don't get that many options in here, and it is one of those things that's gonna surpass this Serpent, and maybe we might have to drop the Serpent down to the flexible OK one, because it is that one ring that you can put anyway, technically, so maybe we have to do that just to be a little bit fairer. We'll do that just to make it fair. It's definitely, again, one ring that if you're priority-wise, investment-wise, it's cheaper, so I'm going to put it above, again, this Effulgent Sun. But Scorching Flame definitely deserves to be in the best in-slot support. I don't think it's better than these other 3 rings, though, and the only reason is because the damage reduction these offer. Damage reduction is a premium at the moment in Age of Empires Mobile compared to actually just increasing your damage output, which, let's be honest, you probably have enough damage already because damage is easy to obtain in this game. So we've only got 5 legendary rings left, and we've got 4 epic rings left, which is kind of crazy, right? So let's dive in. Let's finish off some of these priority rings that I think that you should be getting for your marches. And these are going to be the 4 rings that I honestly believe are the 1 purpose ring, right? So if you're going to build a good old tactician march, aka Suleiman, you got your Ramses or your YSS, and they're going down that tactician archer route. Out of any ring, of all of them, this is your priority ring. This is the 4K ring. It inflicts burn effects onto him, which is crazy. It also inflicts silence, and when you activate, and obviously stops them from activating their commander skills, it's nuts, right? It is a nut amount of utility that this ring provides, and it does turn on and allow marchers like Suleiman to actually work and do what they need to do. And especially when you look at things like your Ramses, you can whack this on too, and it's not going to be obviously hating it. He's going to be happy that he's got some sort of advantage in this utility, and honestly, it's just great. It's just a great ring for those marchers. This is the exact same thing when we look at our Sacred Sage. Sacred Sage is literally the Martial Pikeman's priority ring. If you're playing Martial Pikeman, you need this ring. It's the one ring that just turns your march online, and people don't understand that. Increasing your turn-based skill damage by 55% and healing effects by 55% is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. The amount of damage you're already dealing with stuff like triple offensive, making them take more damage, and coordination, stacking with Silent Oath, you hit so hard, it's no laughing matter. So you can see why this is like the stable one. If you're a warrior pikeman, you can imagine Messenger of Destruction is your ring. No matter what anyone says, this ring is, again, just outright absurd. Reduces all damage of your hero's normal attacks by 20%. Guess what? You're a pikeman. You do not care about normal attack damage. That's something Mulang players and Lubu players all care about. But you do increase the damage of your passive skills by 75% at max rank. This is one of, if not the largest, damage increase that you can find in the game. And for passive skills alone, warrior pikemen need this ring. So if you're running any sort of Richard, Leo, Cyrus in the future, Messenger of Destruction is your ring. And then what I'm going to do, and this is going to be kind of controversial maybe, but Skyward Knight. I think Skyward Knight is the ring. If you are going for any 4K ring for infantry, it's the ring. You can put this on any of the infantry marches, especially if you want to do some crazy stuff by putting it on strategy-based heroes like your Charlemagne and allowing that Charlemagne to buff up this boost even further and use it as a support ring. You can do that. You can put this on Mehmed, you can put it on Constantine, you can put it on Yodi, you can put it on Tribuana. It is the one ring that allows those marches to pop off even harder because you are increasing your commander damage and reducing the hero damage dealt by 15%, which is great. You also, as well, increasing your activation chance by 10%. And this is where things get juicy, right? Having that activation chance means Miyamoto's main signature skill can keep firing off with the Tribuana, boosting it, and then obviously him leapfrogging that boost onto your Yodi and allow the cycle to continue. So this is basically those 4 rings in the priority slot. I know it might upset a lot of you guys, but depending on the formation and depending on the player, in reality, each one of these rings is a priority fund, because if you're a martial pikeman, you want Sacred Sage. If you're a warrior infantry player, you want Skyward Knight. If you are a warrior pikeman, you want Messenger of Destruction. And if you are a tactician archer and sometimes infantry in the future, Everflame Wings is your one to go. So if you're a tactician archer, especially Suleiman marchers and stuff like that, this is that ring. Is it going to be one that I would say is the top of the priority list? Now, that's where things get interesting, and I'm going to say no, right? So when it comes into priorities, this is going to be a little bit subjective, but I do think technically the Everflame Rings is the worst out the bunch, right? So if we kind of put these guys up, I do think for a lot of players, this is the value of them. So if we get this one up, there we go. We've got the Messenger's Destruction, then the Skyward Knight, then the Sacred Sage, and then the Everflame. This is going to be hard to obviously rank, but I would probably put it like this. Because Marshall Pikeman, I'm just saying, might be biased, and I'm sorry, they're just too good value. They are so insane value for the damage they put out, and Sacred Sage is just your ring of choice, right? So absolutely love it. We've only got 5 rings remaining, and those 5 rings, as you can see, is the Lord of the Eastern Heavens. We've got the Ring of the Night Wolf, Ring of the Bear, Ring of the, I think that's Badger, as well as Ring of the Lion. And I think this list already looks infinitely better than the last rings. So let me know what you think so far to this video. I know it's been a long one, but we has to redo it and just give a better updated version of these Signet Rings with just more information from myself, you know, just to give you guys what I can, right? So with that, let's shotgun them out. We've got 5 rings remaining, and what are these rings gonna be for your account? So to finish off the tier list and the 5 final rings, we've got the Lord of the Eastern Heavens here, as well as the final Ring of the Bear, Ring of the Lion, Ring of the Nightwolf, and Ring of the Boar. And the thing is, a lot of these purple rings that we're going to discuss first are absolutely crucial and just really insane value. So the first one we're going to go over is Ring of the Bear. This is one of, if not best in slot support rings that you could be getting early game. Why? Well, you can put this on any warrior might based march, aka your Mulans, your Lubus. You can even put it on infantry, and you're gonna be happy because no matter what, you are only reducing 20 armor, and this is at all levels. You're going to be reducing this stat, but you're increasing your commander's might by 33.9 to a maximum of 105 when it's level 40, which is crazy because you're allowing your main commander now to hit even harder than he normally would have, right? So this is great for a supportive based ring and super cheap for you as well because you're increasing the commander's might damage through each of the attributes here as well, and it's an epic ring, so you're gonna be able to level it up. Now moving into the Ring of the Boar, this is again one of the best in slot DPS rings that you have to be picking up if you are a warrior pikeman. Warrior pikemen and just generally pikemen that use passive skills are going to be needing Ring of the Boar. It's one of the best rings that you can synergize with that Messenger of Destruction to allow you to have this insane amount of extra passive skills increase to just kill everyone in the late game. When you max this ring out, it's a 42% increase of passive skill damage, so it's no laughing matter. And again, as you guys know, being an epic, it's going to be nice and easy to level up compared to your legendary rings in game. Now, best in slot Nightwolf. Yes, you heard right. Best in slot DPS Ring of the Nightwolf. I think anyone who has got this ring uses it. It's that good. You can equip this ring straight away if you unlock it for your first ever ring. You can literally put this on Mulan, you can put it on your Lubu, you can put it on anyone that just does normal attacks, because every 9 you're just absolutely blasting out this nuke of stats to your march, right? You're increasing all of your secondary strike skills by 25%, and you're reducing the armor by 35 for 3 seconds. This is nuts. Just for the fact that it is just it's just a crazy amount of damage, guys. I can't explain it, right? You can put this on Guan Yu like I have, and it just takes advantage of it even further with the Lubu match. You can put it on Mulan, you can put it on Bellevue, you can put it on Mehmed, you can put it on just loads of different heroes, and they're just going to take advantage of it because it's just a very fair ring. Even free-to-play players using Josephine can use Ring of the Nightwolf on that match. It's going to be 10 times better, right? Now, Ring of the Lion. Ring of the Lion. This is probably, if not the king of flexibility. Let's be real. This is the one ring in the game you could unlock this if you had 600 coins and you had to put money on a safe ring. This is it. Because no matter what, if you unlock this ring, you can put it on your strategy marches, you can put it on your might marches. It doesn't matter. Because this is all increasing every stat that you have by 65. It's as simple as that, right? The king of flexibility there. So 600 that you can choose for that. And to finish it off, we've got the Lord of the Eastern Heavens. And this is where I think a lot of people might get a little bit upset with me, but hear me out, right? Hear me out. Lord of the Eastern Heavens is a super powerful ring. It really is. It's a very strong ring in the right circumstances. And a lot of people are using this in Lubu marches just to do a crazy amount of damage because you are increasing your normal attacks by 100%. The issue is, though, with me, it's a 4,000 ring. And the thing is, being a 4,000 ring, you could do a lot better value when it comes in terms of investment. This could be one of those rings that you might buy after you've got, you know, 6 or 7 or 8 rings in your lineup, because then you're gonna have the ability to kind of sort them around and fit this in that slot. And because of that, we're gonna put it in the #1 niche category. Honestly, if you are running a Lubu and you really want to go maximum for it, Lord of the Eastern Heavens has been shown to be that route. However, I don't think you should be going, you know, tenfold for this ring. You could go for the Ring of the Lion, which is easily the #1 flexible ring in the game, and just be much happier. You can get the Ring of the Bear as one of the best in slot support rings, or Ring of the Boar, or Ring of the Night Wolf, right? If you got any of those rings, you are going to be 10 times happier on your account. And you got to think, with that Ring of the Lord of the Eastern Heavens here, that's 4,000 rings. So that's, again, you could buy this ring, this ring, this ring, and this ring for the same price, plus these 2 rings, and you're even more happier, right? So you can see, if you wanted to go for DPS, you can go for DPS. If you really want some supportive rings, you can go for those supportive rings. And if you guys want just flexibility and utility, you've got these rings here for you guys. So that's the brand new tier list concluded. And I know it's a long video, I do apologize, but hopefully in the future we can condense this down now to just obviously moving up or down a couple of these rings if they're any better or any worse than they are. And don't worry, I know you guys have been probably shouting at me about this video, but we're going to be doing another one, which is you. Yes, you are going to be in charge of this tier list, and you're going to put your own votes. I'm going to be doing this completely live, so wait for that video when it comes out, because we probably have already recorded it without you guys knowing, and I've recorded this before that, so we can see if I and you are kind of aligned in who thinks what's where, right? So that's going to be my brand new tier list for the Signet Rings on Age of Empires Mobile. Hopefully it makes sense to you guys why I've got these rings in those lists, and you understand my explanations, right? So don't start warrior typing in here saying, oh, Sneaky's making you only get these legendary rings. That is not the case. You have clearly not listened to the video. You've clearly not listened to the explanations of these rings when we've gone through them. So until the next video, guys, smash like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.